Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the previous episode, we just began investigation number 2 of something. Today's episode right now, we're going to keep on going. If you're hyped for today's episode, make sure the like button to support is greatly appreciated the channel. Let's see what we can find here. That's so long. Gina, what are you doing?
I had no idea there was so many people in the world.
I know what you mean. It's really packed here today.
It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds. To this point.
Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice, to be honest.
Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo.
There you are.
I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long.
Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Well, greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since we last met. What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine. The gentlewoman so loyally at your side.
Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice.
He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right, well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi! Get over here, Gina!
She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now?
Amazing, isn't it? She's got a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place anyway. She's got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London.
Oh no, really?
That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come see you how you're getting along. Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. France? I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley. But France isn't an entirely different country? I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. Now, don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'd become of her? I suppose he's worried she slipped back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses.
I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruto. I think he's worried about the Reaper.
Oh, of course.
So the playing of Inspector Greg's mind too, is it?
Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. I've got to keep that diva safe and sound. Until all this is over, at least.
Oi! Did you just call me a bloomin' diva again? Diving diva.
So you heard that, did ya? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here.
Alright, you heard the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now.
I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you got a new dog, have you?
Aww, isn't he great? Toby's his name.
Why does that name sound Okay.
Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable.
Yes, the dog does seem lovely. But it's the not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Gina, you were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
And I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here.
Ah, yes, Toby.
The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh! It's like I told Otto yesterday, even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? The special... something act. But aren't we allowed? Because we now find it reasonable to doubt that it could be useful? That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What did they call it again? The forensic something? The forensic investigation team. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one. Yeah. But isn't it the case that the special suspension has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with ya. You're supposed to get permission from some big wig or another, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps. That's the one, yeah. Apparently, he's always watching the time or something. So without Lord Strongheart's express permission, we can't investigate on the stage. It was a great one, wasn't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and Otto's made things hard for me every single time and all. Just doing my job, Gina. While watching someone else get in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. It's the boss I feel sorry for, sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? It's supposed to the rest of the other cove, ain't he? Ain't it time for tomorrow? You know, the dodgy engineer, what's his name again? Mr. Drever, you mean, and not Drever. That's the one, yeah. So the police are looking for this mysterious man with a black monocle. I guess they would be. It's putting too much on the boss if you ask me. He says it's giving me guttache? Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. Yikes. So Scotland, you're trying to track down Mr. Knox Driver. I wonder if they had any luck. He's really funny looking. Got two eyes, we don't match it. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? You know, that scowling reaper what? Always guggling down glasses on the blood red plunk. Ah, Lord Von Zykes. He's always had it in me for me. That cove, don't know what he's always scowling about, mine. Well, he would have been a pretty good boss as it goes. Should you rather be the Reaper's apprentice than the detective's trainee? The way I see it, if the choice is between chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-guggling demigod, you're equally badly off with both. Damn, I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Glad we put that one into bed. Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding this fishy engineer. But they don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. There's nothing that can lead us to Drever at all. Oh, we already got the clue anyway, so. Where did you find that little mutt then, Gina? Oi! Don't be so flemmin' rude, Otto! Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't no mutt, alright? Toby's, how they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective. Sorry? I've given a proper title on everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. Aww. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Aww, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recruit dogs now? I've heard that they are already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly unlaundered from undergarments that haven't. Ha! That's nothing compared to this little fellow, Otto. Oh, really? According to what the boss said, once Toby here got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that scent to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim? Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point. by rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Otto, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing that bit for the police in future. Yes, I agreed. Right? One of these days, they'll be barking orders at us, not the other way around. Oh dear, sorry Gina, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby here is Britain's first police dog. I found him down the East End the other day, someone just had to chuck him out of the street. There you go, I knew she lifted him from somewhere. Oh Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. Alright, let's go check on the boss. We know what we need to go to. Who the heck? That better be the missus. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder, I've never seen her before.
The wife? Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, understand? And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result.
Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment?
Sham science being demonstrated at London's Great Exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrambling to respond. Lord Von Sykes is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing.
Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special suspension that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with the scrap metal in no time.
It's scrap metal now, is it? Until later then, Strongheart.
Yes, thank you.
Who is that?
That was Dr. Courtney Scythe, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigations team handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact.
Oh, I see. About Mr. Osmond?
Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you have to ask her directly. You can find her at the forensics laboratory.
Right.
Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. So he's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore.
Alright, Chief. I want you to give me permission. Okay, that's something. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before?
The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago?
Next month, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensic division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly.
What do you mean?
For too long, these scoundrels have made mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London scum is about to be rotted up and burned in the fires of hell. I intend to see it personally, while creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future.
Look at those eyes. He means every word.
Dr. Scythe is extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensic division at Scotland Yard, she will run as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of this thing, Miss Miko Toba.
Oh, yes, my lord?
Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan.
Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month.
Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotoba, I mean? It was many years ago, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student.
It was the year I was born, so yes, 16 years ago in fact.
Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Jikoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctualness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were... Dr. Mikotoba studied forensic at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Scythe, Scythe, was also there then, as it happens.
Then Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she?
She was a young medical assistant in the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I have no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total.
6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years.
So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years.
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Oh.
Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away.
What do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. I wanted to ask you about Lord Von Zyx, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a masked murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Von Zyx, was murdered, it was just after young Burke had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who matched to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Burke Von Zyx went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind.
Oh my word.
So Lord Von Zyx isn't a Reaper. It's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Oh yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then? Not in the slightest, in fact. You could say I was barely aware of the subject at all, and all until recently. Well, the special dispatch legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Scythe's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there is no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you! Being able to look at it is better than nothing.
And I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls.
We are extremely sorry to have to trouble you when you are so busy, my lord.
I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the thing, you understand. Symposium? Alright. She did say the forensics laboratory. Come on, son! Okay, let's go back over here. Alright, Gina, out of the way. We have permission by the Big Wig.
Oi! That's off limits up there. Try to sneak past me again and I'll stuff your good up full of bag of chips.
Yes, please, I love fish and chips. I suppose we need special permission. I guess we need proof. To the forensics lab! Yo! This is not a laboratory I would think of. It's a horror film. I believe this is it. Dr. Scythe's laboratory.
That chemical smell really assaults the nose, and there's plenty to assault the eyes in here too. It looks as though the doctor isn't here, but we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you become, Miss Sato. We could just have a little look around, but being careful not to upset any restless souls. What is this? A table and set of sharp tools. When you consider each isolation, it looks quite innocent. So why is it when you put them side by side, they seem horribly disturbing?
It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air?
You either have the cast iron constitution, or a really terrible sense of smell. Yo. Look at all the bottles on the shelves in this cabinet. What an assortment of chemicals.
These ones here are labeled highly toxic.
That's worrying, because there are also things that looks like salt and pepper shakers in there.
Oh yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes.
Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death. Yikes. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case.
The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo?
Mr. Sato?
Can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying content in the case? It's how I cope. I'll be sure to remember that from now on.
Okay, the thing that she mentioned. Look at this big thick book here.
It appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of forensic investigation team spending, I think.
Oh? What is it?
It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? What in what way?
They're buying 500 scalpels every month.
500?
They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Judicial autopsies are really only carried out in certain special circumstances, and scalpel blades can be sharpened too.
It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all them for?
What are you doing?
Sorry, we had something we had wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so...
So you thought you snooped around. That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us you see that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Osmond's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? The victim, Mr. Adi Osman, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and Mr. Osman, who appeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
But that can't be right.
If it was a elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see, if two people who look very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints on the scene make that quite evident.
Fingerprints?
They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system. Well, one day, they will be used as investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Kinesis is possible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery.
Did you give us access to the thing? Yo!
Mama, what is this?
Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama?
This is lawyer, dear.
Oh. Hello, to meet you. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm defense lawyer, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Mama? Yes? Can I cut this one up?
What? Hey!
I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see.
Put that thing away!
Huh, boring.
I think I just had a near-death experience.
Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're pale as a corpse.
Then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. So, what are you doing at the moment, Doctor?
Keeping a close eye on things so no impertinent Easterner thinks they can look around my office.
Are there such impertinent Easterns around? How terrible.
Yes, you.
She doesn't mince her words, Susato.
I think perhaps it's time we left.
Where's the one that was trying to chop us up? I want to see what she looks like unmasked. Well, that one in the episode right here. Next episode, we're gonna check on our good friend. Like, comment, subscribe. Strike is XCB9. I'm signing out.